Hi, Elliot. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
No problem.
As you know, we're opening up enrollment into the association again soon, and we like to talk to current associates such as yourself who have transitioned successfully. Can you start just by introducing yourself and the company and position that you're in right now?
Okay. Yes, of course. My name is Elliot Brecht, and I recently joined Genentech here in South San Francisco as a research scientist.
Fantastic. Yeah, Genentech, I think they have been voted numerous times as the top place to work for people in STEM, for PhDs. I mean, all kinds of awards. So what a great position to get into. Congratulations again.
No, I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's been fantastic so far, and definitely a dream job for me.
That's great. So I'm really happy for you, and I know that you're in the job. You're working right now, in fact. So I appreciate you coming on. I want to rewind a little bit to talk about some of the struggles you were having that motivated you to join the association and to go on and get an industry job. So in your job search, what were some of the top challenges that you had?
Of course. Some of the challenges, I started looking, thankfully, before I actually graduated, which I don't think most people do, but it was getting a little disheartening because as I was doing that, I was, of course, sending my resume out to, the black hole, not getting any responses back, just sort of wondering what's wrong. Am I going to end up needing to stay in academia? And really didn't want to at that time, just sort of knowing the whole grant funding stasis for STEMs in particular and the battle getting tenure positions. So I knew that I wanted to transfer into industry, but it was just sort of wasn't hearing anything back, and then was actually a little disheartened because I did actually get an interview, went on site, and basically heard no. And I was like, something's not right, and I definitely don't want to stay in academia. So that's sort of the point that sort of pushed me to look additionally for other things, and that's when I then joined, the CSA.
Yeah, and I think those two sticking points are really common, right? You said the black hole, uploading resumes, not hearing anything back. And then even worse, getting to an interview, a site visit, and not getting a job offer, really, really tough.
Yeah, it was really disheartening at that point, and then sort of like I knew I was doing something wrong. I just didn't realize what it was. So now I can look back and see like a lot of the stuff that I learned through the CSA and all the documentation and just from other people's experiences what that really was.
So what was that? So after you got into the association, you started talking to people in the community, you started seeing posts, you went to the materials. What were some of those, I guess, aha moments that you had?
Some of those really were realizing that I needed to actually make a resume and not have a CV. That was one of the big things, because just sending out a 6-page thing, no one's going to look at it. They're not going to be able to distill down the proper points. And same sort of thing with my LinkedIn profile. I'm telling people and I'm trying to connect there, and I was trying to network, but I wasn't doing it properly, and it was just sort of getting the training to do some of those informational interviews, to actually talk to people, just makes you more comfortable in selling yourself, because I think most PhDs, we know our stuff, and that's not really what it is that you have to portray, because everybody knows as a PhD that you've earned that, you know your stuff, and I think you actually said many times, and many people iterated, it's just knowing your own value, and then actually taking that and owning it and being able to then portray that you're worth what you're worth.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, you said know your stuff. Really, it's people know PhDs have the technical skills or they can learn them on the job, right? Even at Genentech. But they want to see that you know your value in those transferable things, like you can present yourself as a leader, you can communicate, be confident, etc., display conflict resolution skills, all these different things. You did mention, the fact that there is a community and that you learned from other associates, especially when networking. Can you talk a little bit about how the community helped you?
Yeah, I actually got lots of feedback, help on my profile, help on my resume. I actually got a referral for one of the positions I applied for. Well, actually, before I took this position, I got a referral from actually another member of the CSA, went through and actually had an on-site with that company as well. So actually ended up during that time having several different on-sites, and thankfully got to have my pick of the different jobs. And so, it was just learning all these techniques, actually getting referrals from other members of the CSA, and knowing that that's really how you do get into a position, is doing that. And it's a community that's really helping everybody else out. And I've tried to, pay that back. I don't know that it's actually bled anything so far, but hopefully, and I can pay it forward at some point.
Yeah, I mean, even this, I think having other PhDs see a PhD such as yourself make that transition. It's great to hear about your experience right after you went through the experience, right?
Yeah.
So I do appreciate this. My last question is, I always like to ask this because you said this to me before we started this call, right? Was as PhDs, we do our homework and we can be critical and we want to make sure we're making the right decisions. So did you have any reservations before joining? And if so, how were they alleviated after you joined?
Yes and no. It's one of those things. Is I think everybody in the PhD, you realize you're worth more than you are, but it's making that investment in it. And that was sort of one of my sort of trepidations at first. Was is joining the association worth it? Like, am I going to get my ROI? Am I get my return on investment on this? And so usually you want to make sure that you actually are. And so I was a little worried about that, I guess, initially. So I started doing some research, and then after I, again, like I said, I'm going through and not really hearing back. I'm like, all right, I think I know that I'm worth this investment, so I'm going to go ahead and take that leap and, invested in myself and my future by doing this. And I think that was really, really ended up being worth it. And, that was my initial fear, I guess, but, thankfully overcame it.
Yeah, and obviously it worked out. How long did it take you after joining to be like, oh yeah, wow, this was everything that they said?
Really pretty quickly, because I was able, to dive right into all of the material and immediately joined the Facebook group, and just immediately seeing the positivity there, being able to then actually start looking through all of the documentation and realize pretty quickly what I was doing wrong with some of my stuff, going oh, here's sort of a step-by-step of what I should be doing with my resume and not CPA, and how I should be contacting people and, networking properly instead of just sort of going to some meetings and other things and hoping that something will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Elliot, for sharing. I really appreciate it. I know you're even at work now doing this, and it means a lot. So congratulations again, and we look forward to watching your continued career success. Thank you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Elliot.